Hey everyone, it's Michael V. Moore, aka McVinny. Today I will be tackling one of the biggest dilemmas most travelers face. What is this dilemma? It is the beast known as Mickey D's, or for my unhip friends, McDonald's. No matter where you travel at in the United States, and sadly across the globe, you're most likely going to run into a McDonald's. And if you're like me and you had a childhood like mine, there's pretty much a McDonald's on every other corner in your neighborhood or town. So when you see this throughout your lifetime, you automatically assume that it's a good place to get food. Some of us have childhood memories of McDonald's. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about the breakfast menu from McDonald's. And I want to go through ways of creating a healthier breakfast when you're traveling, whether you're at an airport or you're in a hurry in the morning, got rush hour traffic. No matter what your travel is, you have decided that McDonald's is for you. And I'm going to help you try and pick a healthy a healthy breakfast, I guess you can say, out of all your options that you currently have at Mickey D's. So here I am looking at the McDonald's front page. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm not a big breakfast person or a McDonald's breakfast person. But in the last couple of weeks, I have stopped at McDonald's and gotten breakfast with my wife. And it was my first time having breakfast at McDonald's in a long time. And it made me aware that for some of you out there, this is your everyday routine. So let's tackle this menu. So if you've been following McVinny, you know I'm a big proponent of, eat your vegetables, eat fruits, and eat lean, mean protein sources. And you try and keep your carbs and excess fats to a minimal. So the first thing I see on this page is pancakes with butter on top and syrup. Where's the protein? There's no protein in that. So I would automatically ignore pancakes. So this fruit and yogurt parfait right here, I kind of look at this as fool's gold. What I mean by fool's gold is it looks like it's healthy for you, but I'm pretty much sure there's pretty much nothing but sugar inside that fruit and yogurt parfait. We'll take a look at that in a second. So now we finally see some protein sources. I see some ham and some eggs in these egg McMuffins. So I'm going to look at these more in detail. So I already see they have an egg white delight McMuffin, which if you didn't know anything about nutrition, you might automatically assume that's a healthier egg McMuffin, but we're going to tackle that. Here we have sausage McMuffins, and automatically in my mindset, I know that sausage is a fattier meat than the Canadian bacon that's on the typical egg McMuffin. So just looking at this, doing a quick eye test, I would go with the egg McMuffin default McMuffins before I would go with the sausage McMuffins because I'm pretty much sure the sausage McMuffins are nothing but fat. And then cheese, there's no need to get cheese right now. I would say the only way I would do a sausage McMuffin is if you did not do the McMuffin at all. But in that case, why did you bother getting the McMuffin? You could have just ordered the sausage by itself. Same thing with bacon. Bacon is pretty much nothing but fat. There's not a significant amount of protein on it, so I kind of ignore it. The biscuits look good, I will admit, but that's just carbs. So you got carbs and fat, and in this case, we don't want that combination this early in the morning. We don't want to ruin the rest of our day. Okay, and the menu just gets worse because then we have these McGriddles, which is nothing but sugar and syrup inside of a white carb source. And for those who follow me, I'm a big fan of white carbs. I hate when people say, oh, all white carbs are evil. Well, I'm a big eater of potatoes and white rice. But when it comes towards artificially created white carbohydrates such as breads, I'm not a big fan of that because they're predominantly sugar. Your body treats it like sugar. Once it goes into your system, it's just sugar, basically. And looking at these McMuffins, in these biscuits and these McGriddles, I don't see anything. I just see fat, fat. The cheese to me, when I automatically see the cheese, I just see fat and sausage fat. More fat on top of sugar. That's all this is right here. And the bacon, egg, and cheese bagel looks a little bit better, but still, you see all that cheese on carbs? Not a big fan. Okay, then we have the big breakfasts, which basically is just a breakdown of what you see above. So I'm a fan. I like the fact they get the eggs. That's pretty nice. But okay, so the final ones is the burritos, hash browns, which would be a big no because all that is oils. So I told you how I like potatoes, yes, but I don't like my potatoes deep fried. Little side story here. I remember when I went to McDonald's breakfast like 7 years ago, and God bless his soul, the guy working the front counter wanted me to have a fresh hash brown. And to him, a fresh hash brown was a hash brown dipped in oil. So I kid you not, he took a already cooked hash brown and just dipped it in uncooked oil and took it out and gave it to me, saying, "Hey, that's a fresh hash brown right there." True story. One of my many, many travel adventures. But okay, so let's start tackling some of these items. So let's go with the healthiest looking one that we see, the fruit and maple oatmeal. Nice looking picture, but when I see this, all I see is fat and sugar. So if I go to full nutrition ingredients, there's only 6 grams of protein in the fruit and maple oatmeal. That's not a lot. For 62 grams of carbs, nah, we want more protein than that. So if I was to get this for my breakfast, I would only probably get this if I had a scoop of protein with you. Like if you're traveling, you might want to carry with you a scoop of protein. That might be a good idea. Vanilla, chocolate, whatever will go good with this oatmeal. And put that in this. And notice how they have the oatmeal without brown sugar and the oatmeal. Interesting. Let me click on oatmeal without brown sugar and see if it's a significant difference. And there's a small difference, but the reality is if you're at McDonald's, you're not going to try and go out your way to get it without the brown sugar. But even without the brown sugar, yes, the numbers go down, but you still need a significant more amount of protein. So how I would fix this meal right here is I would have some type of protein source. So I would have brought me like, a scoop of protein in my bag. If this is like at an airport or something like that, yeah, I would have just had my scoop of protein and dip it in here with this. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the Craisin Raisin brand because it's really nothing there but sugar. I would probably take that out. The cream can stay. It's only 20 calories. It's no big deal. But yeah, I would get rid of the cranberry raisins. And if I had my scoop of protein with me, I would do the oatmeal without brown sugar. And that would bring it down. 13 grams of carbs are gone. So that would make it a little better option. But still, you do what you can. I personally would not be a big fan of this unless I did have like some protein in which I can supplement it. Like I said, if you have protein powder, mix it into this, makes a great breakfast. Very quick breakfast. I used to eat that for like 7 years straight, kid you not, way back in my college days. So let's go back. Okay, and let's look at some of these other choices. So we got the Fruit and Yogurt Parfait, which I said it can be fool's gold because it looks healthy from a distance because you see the fruits and you see the yogurt, but the granola is what stands out to me. So let's see what the nutrition actually is. Okay, so this is my first time here. Let me figure, so this is how I can, let's take that oatmeal out. Okay, so the Fruit and Yogurt Parfait has less carbs than the oatmeal, but still, when the fact I see low-fat yogurt, I would assume that the protein would be high, but When it comes towards yogurt, I'm a bigger fan of Greek yogurt because Greek yogurt has more protein than typical yogurt. And this is a restaurant, so they're not going to try and give you the best of the best. So the yogurt, let's even take the yogurt out. There's only 3 grams of protein in this yogurt. That's ridiculous. And then if you take the granola out, yeah, so most of the sugar is coming from the yogurt. So this is crap. Um, yeah, it's really not worth getting. Again, like if I was going to get this, the only reason I would get this if I had some protein on me that I can just mix with this. But if that was the case, it wouldn't even be worth me being at McDonald's anyways. So I'm not a big fan of the Fruit N Yogurt Parfait. I'm not a big fan of the oatmeal so far. So let's find out what happens when we go for the Egg McMuffin. So I told you before that the McMuffins, the default McMuffins sounded the best. And so let's compare a classic Egg McMuffin to the Egg White Delight McMuffin, because the Egg White Delight McMuffin sounds like it might have a little bit more nutrition to it. Okay, so when you look at the Egg McMuffin has more going on for it than anything else we have come upon so far. The one thing that sucks about the Egg McMuffin is the amount of butter they put in the Egg McMuffin. So let's just take the American cheese out and see how much our fat goes down. Okay. So taking that out, this breakfast becomes a little bit more manageable. So you have 15 grams of protein, 28 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat. If you take the cheese out, this would be my favorite choice so far for breakfast. So far, what we come across at this site. And so let's just look at it without cheese. So without cheese, it was 15 grams of protein and 8 grams of fat. So 250 calories. Okay, so let's compare the Egg McMuffin to the Egg White McMuffin. Okay, so when you look at the Egg White McMuffin compared to the regular Egg McMuffin, the calories are exactly the same once you took the cheese out of the regular McMuffin. And if you look at the stats, 8 grams of fat, 17 grams of protein, 29 grams of carbs. The only difference is there's 1 more gram of carbs here than with the Egg McMuffin. Than the regular Egg McMuffin, I should say. And it has, 2 more grams of protein. And you get to have cheese if that's what you're really craving. So that's interesting. That is very interesting. When it comes towards breakfast foods or my meals in general, I try and get as much protein as possible. So with these Egg McMuffins, it seems like the most you can get out of one Egg McMuffin is about 15 to 17 grams of protein. So I can say between these choices, you can go with either one. If you were to do the classic McMuffin, you probably just would not want to get that cheese because it's a little too much, just extra fat added to that. Whereas if you want to have cheese, probably just get the Egg White Delight McMuffin. Seems okay. I'm not a big fan of these numbers. I would definitely prefer my protein number to be a little bit higher than carbs, but you're doing the best you can. And so far, out of everything I've seen, this is the best. The 2 Egg McMuffins sandwiches. So it's amazing what happens when you just do the eye test, right? So let's go back to the overall menu, breakfast menu. And I'm not going to even bother with the sausage McMuffin because I already know what's that going to look like. It's really not worth getting. So the difference between an egg, let's look at it just so you can see I'm not crazy here. The sausage patty is pretty fatty, and then you got cheese and butter on bread. No, no, no. Okay, so Bear with me. I have to navigate their system. So yeah, look at these numbers. So you have a lot of fat. Anytime you have the same amount of carbs and the same amount of fat, that's pretty much a no. You never want to have those two numbers higher than the amount of protein, especially combined. When you're out there traveling on the road, it's true that it's always going to be easier to find higher carbs and higher fat than higher protein. But your goal is to find as much protein as possible while keeping your fat down. If your carbs is up, you want to keep the fat down. If the fat is up, you want to keep the carbs down. So having both of those pretty high is a big no-no, especially for breakfast. So that's why I automatically look at the sausage patty. Let's even check the cheese out to see if that makes a big difference. And it doesn't make a big difference. The sausage patty is just not worth it, in my opinion. If you're going to be at McDonald's, just don't get the sausage patty. The Canadian bacon is a better choice. And the same goes with, bacon. Anything with bacon is a no-no. So when I did my eyeball test, the only other thing I could see is, let's see if we did, even the sausage burrito is a no-no. So there's really nothing there except for the egg McMuffins that I would either consider high protein. So let's just look at the big breakfast. I'm curious as to what is in the big breakfast. Okay, let's get rid of the sausage McMuffin. So I already know the biscuit should be taken out, the hash brown, the sausage. I'm just curious what the egg looks like. Okay, so I'm looking at the big breakfast for one reason, because I'm all about getting protein. And remember when I told you that when carbs are high, fat should be lower, or when fat is higher, carbs should be a little bit lower? Well, in this case, the only thing I see worth eating in the big breakfast is the scrambled eggs. And I basically took everything off just to see what it would look like. And if you were able to get some type of scrambled, I don't know if they serve scrambled eggs by themselves, but if it was possible, you could just do scrambled eggs from McDonald's, but it's not efficient. Like I can see it probably cost an arm and leg, where you're there for the quick and convenience of everything. And for me, scrambled eggs is one of my key foods I eat when I'm at hotels. For instance, if they have like a breakfast, I will always get scrambled eggs and maybe a couple hard boiled eggs, where I would eat the egg whites with a couple whole eggs, or mix it with the scrambled eggs to make a mess. Like a little, get as much. It allows me to get as much protein as possible, and I just don't eat breads with it because I know the fat in that is high with the protein, and that's what I want for breakfast. So my big motto when you travel is, keep the fats low if the carbs is high, keep the carbs low if the fat is high, and always try and get as much protein in as possible. So I looked at McDonald's menu and I'm not that impressed. Let's just look at the sausage burrito, but again, it's sausage. I already know what the answer is going to be. It's sausage and a flour tortilla with cheese. It's not going to be good for your body. And yeah, it's not worth. The protein is lower than the fat. The carbohydrates are at 26. It's not worth getting. Yeah. So after analyzing McDonald's breakfast menu, I would only get the egg McMuffin. Oh yeah, I forgot about the little apple slices, which to me are ridiculous. It's just a ploy to make you think you're eating healthy, when most of the time these apples are not fresh to begin with. But if you're, traveling and you're there, and you want a number one or whatever the breakfast menu number is, I don't know it off the top of my head. I would go with the Egg McMuffin breakfast meal, or the egg white delight McMuffin, or the egg McMuffin. If you get the egg McMuffin, like I showed you earlier, just get it without the cheese. Um, yeah, and let's just look at that one more time, just so you can see. Okay, because my fat is 12, my carbs is 29. I want to get my fat down as little as possible. Yeah, and that would be my choice for the morning. So in this case, I'm eating a English muffin. It's not my ideal carb source, but you're at McDonald's. This is the best you can do, and you just do the best you can with what you have. Okay, so I hope you found this useful. So those are my two items, are the two different egg McMuffins, and then I will only go with the oatmeal source. If you have like some protein on you, go with the oatmeal source. And even if you have protein with you, yeah, you can still do the egg McMuffin. You get some more protein in there. It's a good complement. I would not go the value menu route. If you were in a pinch and you think you're getting a good deal, like you really are starting for some coffee, just make sure you get your coffee black, and then don't get the hash brown. Ask for the apples instead. I prefer you to eat, even though I bashed the McDonald's apples, that still the apples are a better choice than a hash brown. So you always make the best choices possible. And in this case, the two egg McMuffins are your two top choices. And that's what I would do for breakfast at McDonald's. So I hope you found this useful. Take care.